Running with another brand new live edition of Talking Ball. 97.7 ESPN The Zone, 7:02 on a Wednesday morning. Hope everyone's safe travels into work, into wherever you may be headed on a Wednesday morning. Welcome back in. A lot of good stuff for us to get through today. Some football, plenty of good football talk, plenty of baseball talk, all kinds of fun stuff to get through on this show this morning. And just like we have the past couple days, we do crank it up with the baseball talk. College Baseball World Series last night, the Auburn Tigers trying to stay alive, taking on Arkansas there at Charles Schwab Field. Not a great night for the Tigers. They fall 11-1 to Arkansas. The list of accomplishments really kind of go on and on for the Tigers. Sonny DeCharo will finish his Auburn career with a .383 batting average for the season after he picked up 2 hits last night. But Auburn, in the end, they end up with a 16-13 SEC record. They host an NCAA regional for the first time since 2010. They win a regional at home for the first time since 99 and win a World Series game for the first time in 25 years. But the pitching kind of gave out. And Arkansas's pitching was spot on, you could say, last night.
It was, but a great run for Auburn. This is a great bounce-back season because, as we know, they didn't make the postseason last year at all, even Hoover in the SEC tournament. So Butch Thompson and his staff, did a great job. There's no question about that. Arkansas is kind of making up for lost time because they had a great regular season last year, but disappointed in the postseason, did not get to Omaha. Now we will see them and Ole Miss square off on one side of the bracket. Texas A&M takes out Notre Dame 5-1 Scott, so that means 3 of the Final 4 are from the SEC. And if you really want to be contrary, you could say all 4 of them because Oklahoma joining the league soon. But certainly Auburn made a great run. The bats kind of cooled off too, and Butch Thompson referenced that on your Zone Center this morning. Coach Thompson talking about in the 2 losses, they only scored 2 runs combined. So, again, I think the pitching fell a little short, as you said yesterday. Yeah. This game was over really by the 3rd inning. Arkansas kind of ran away and hid and was up 8-0 before you kind of blinked. It was kind of quick. But, again, you can't take anything away. The point you made about the first College World Series win since 1997, 25 years ago, is significant. Eliminating Stanford for the first time in 2 games for Auburn. And then Sonny DeCharo, what a year he had. Yep. A co-SEC Player of the Year. This is a young man that last year at Samford was second-team all-conference, in the Southern Conference, and only hit .270. But he comes to Auburn, and he hits 20-plus home runs, and he hits .383. And now, when you look at draft projections and what could happen in a few weeks for that young man, he could end up being a top 50 draft choice, which means, top 2 rounds, and get a significant shot to play professional baseball. So certainly, the former Hoover Buck who played for good friend Adam Mosley, who, of course, Grissom graduate and former Grissom baseball coach as well. You're talking about the transfer portal enhancing your value, going somewhere else and stepping up. Well, it certainly did for Sonny D, and he was a great story for Auburn for the majority of this season. And this Auburn Tigers team, you could argue, Scott, is the greatest of all time. So, I just give them a lot of credit. Butch Thompson now twice in 3 years has been to the College World Series with this program. They certainly are improving incrementally, and you kind of heard Coach reference that as well. Their next goal, I guess you would say, is to win it all, certainly, but they're on a great trajectory, and you give them credit. And I'll say this, this Auburn team, I think the strength of their team was their lineup up and down that swung the bats really well, but I also think they had a great bullpen with Burkhalter on the back end. The starting pitching was good, not great. It's going to be interesting to see how that improves with 2 great minds, Butch Thompson and Tim Hudson, being on that coaching staff. But certainly when you think about Auburn baseball, a bright future ahead.
So Sonny DeShara went into the College World Series needing just one home run to match the program record for home runs in a season.
Mm-hmm.
If he would have gotten 23, he would have tied the record set by Hunter Morris back in 2010. So Hunter Morris's record still is intact.
And Hunter was the SEC Player of the Year himself.
Yep.
So a former Grissom Tiger as well, and now the hitting coach at the University of Alabama for Brad Bohannon. So Hunter, one of the greatest athletes and players in Rocket City history. And again, someone that I think only injuries kept him out of the major leagues. But he had a very, very fine career at Auburn. And he was on the team you're referencing, the last team to host a regional in 2010. Now, they didn't win it, but certainly had a good year that year for the Auburn Tigers and as a team, and for Hunter, individually. But certainly you got to give Butch Thompson a lot of credit for what he's done. I think it's a remarkable job. And I think in the preseason, Scott, they were picked 12th in the SEC. So they really overachieved, in my opinion, this group to host a regional, win it, and then go out to Corvallis, Oregon, win the Supers, and get back to Omaha.
7th in the West was what Auburn was picked. Here's Butch Thompson after last night's loss.
Too many starting pitchers. Conversely, I think it's 10-plus runs that we probably gave up with 2 outs, and those third and fourth innings were too much to overcome. You extend an inning for a team like Arkansas. At this stage, it kept happening. So we had some sun, some 2 strikes, and I thought when that field was in a unique playing position they just kept putting the ball in play and good things happened while we were still trying to put the bat on the ball. These 2 guys right next to me are 2 of my strongest men and people, and there's a whole locker room full of it. So we'll just start the next 48 hours spending a lot of time with them and continuing the good work. And hopefully if we stair-step this program, we can keep fighting and having a feel that the best is yet to come.
A little bit of Butch Thompson there after the loss last night to Arkansas. The Tiger season does come to an end, but the College World Series is not over.
The SEC Invitational, you mean?
Yeah, and thanks
it's
to our good
it's like a replay of Hoover.
Yeah, thanks to our good friends at Eagle Insulation, or what was it, Eagle? The SEC, or I guess,
Masonry, yep. They also do Masonry.
College World Series is still not going away from 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're going to hear it all.
Here. Yeah, you'll be able to hear it all. And it is basically it is the SEC tournament moved out west into Omaha.
Yeah, it is. Out to the Midwest, Scott.
The only problem is the SEC champion did not make it, but still, though.
Darn. They were too busy bat flipping people off and, and rolling their bats and doing whatever the heck else they did.
But Ole Miss
now
the hottest team. Ole Miss the hottest team. And expectations. I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
We always talk about the expectations on the football side. We break it down all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss, I think, is facing those same expectations because last season Mississippi State goes out there and wins the College World Series. Chris Lemonis' first year on the bench for Mississippi State. They win the whole thing. Ole Miss has had these expectations of winning a World Series championship there in Oxford now for several years, and they come up short. Now this Rebel team is the hottest team in Omaha. Right now, they have yet to lose an NCAA tournament game since the beginning. They're the only team in the country undefeated. Is the pressure mounting for Ole Miss to win it now, this year, because of how well they're playing, the expectations with the program, and Mississippi State winning it all last year?
Well, Lemonis, who I believe, Scott, is actually going, I I think this was his fourth season.
Is it 4? Okay.
Yeah. He came over from Indiana.
Right.
We
But
know
anyway,
that.
he won it last
Yeah,
year.
he won it all when no one expected it, because they started slow in the postseason. Ole Miss, kind of similarly the same situation. They, even though really, if you go back and look at it, their last month of the season they really picked it up. They didn't last long in Hoover,
Right.
but at one time they were 7-14 in the SEC. So they had gone from number 1 in the country to off the bubble. I mean, they weren't even going to make it. And then they got hot at the end of the regular season, and I guess you could argue, and some have said this, we're the last team in the field, because I wasn't sure they were going to get in, honestly. And they were a 3 seed over in Coral Gables, but they have not lost a game since. And really, they have laid waste to everyone. They have played so well. We're going to talk to Jake Wimberly at the top of the second hour about this, and how well this Ole Miss team is playing. It reminds you a little bit of Mississippi State from a year ago. This is an Ole Miss team, just like State, that has never won the College World Series, but neither has Arkansas. So, and we remember just a few seasons ago the heartbreak of the Hogs, because they were a foul pop away from winning the national championship for Coach Van Horn, Dave Van Horn, who has done everything but win it. So somebody on that side of the bracket is going to be playing for their first national title.
Right.
But you could say that all the way around. Well, for 3 of the 4. Texas A&M, I don't think they have ever won it to my knowledge. And then Oklahoma did win it under Larry Koshel in 1994. But it had been really, I think Oklahoma had not made Omaha since 2010 as well. It has been a while for the Sooners to be at this stage. The Sooners are trying to make history, Scott, because no university has ever won it in softball and baseball in the same year. Now, the Florida Gators, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they actually won it all in was it football and basketball at the same time?
Yeah.
So they actually that was a rarity, but we've never seen it in softball and baseball. So Oklahoma got a shot to do that. So there's a lot of interesting storylines to follow, but I do think the Ole Miss one is fascinating if they can get to the finals.
That's what I was wondering, though. Is the pressure really high on them to win it? Because, there's
I don't
been
think
some
so.
Disappointing runs for Ole Miss.
I really don't, because I think Mike Bianco has already been validated as a Hall of Fame coach, because here's what I always reference. We go back. Matter of fact, we were talking about this yesterday. You were debating about who's still the best baseball league or has the best history.
Right.
The Pac-12 has more championships
Right.
still, but the SEC in the last 20, 25 years has been the dominant league. But I just remember 20, 25 years ago how bad Ole Miss baseball was. And we're talking them and Vanderbilt were in the bottom of the league. And now they're 2 of the best programs in the country. I mean, Vanderbilt's won it twice. And I will say this, though. It will completely validate and just there should be no more conversation about Mike Bianco's job if they get at least to the finals.
That's where I was going with, because it seems like as good as Ole Miss is every year in, year out, there's always the talk of, well, maybe they're not performing like they should under Bianco. Maybe they're struggling a little bit. Maybe. And it seems like a national championship, he has to win a national championship to validate everything that he's done.
Well, there might be some criticism if they don't make the finals coming this close. But I'll be honest, I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction. I think they will. I think they'll eliminate Arkansas. I think they're on fire right now. Now, if they play, for example, Oklahoma, if Oklahoma closes out Texas A&M and it's OU and Ole Miss, first of all, that's fascinating because it would be a 2 seed versus a 3 in the national championship series, because there is only one, Scott, national seed left in the tournament, and that's number 5 Texas A&M. under Jim Schlossnagle, the first-year head coach. And Schlossnagle came close to winning it all at TCU. He got to the finals, but we'll see. They're going to have to beat a really good Oklahoma team twice, but that's going to be pretty significant. I mean, a 3 seed. I mean, I believe several years ago, Scott, it may have been around 2010 when Fresno State won the College World Series.
Right.
I want to say they were a 4 because they had a bunch of people hurt and they got on fire and they won they were the lowest seed to ever win it. And I mean, Ole Miss wouldn't be that, or neither would Oklahoma, but it would still be pretty amazing to see one of those two teams win it. Personally, I'm rooting for Coach Bianco because I like the loyalty he showed Ole Miss, because Ole Miss should show the same loyalty to him because he could have left. He could have gone to LSU.
Right.
I mean, he stayed because the Ole Miss administration completely committed, like Mississippi State has, completely committed to the funding of his program. We saw Mississippi State under Chris Lemonis break through last year, and we know how Steve Robertson, who's a great friend of our show, great author, great writer, the Boneyard, his daily podcast. There's nobody that bleeds maroon and white more than Steve Robertson, and he'll tell you straight up. It was what I was talking about yesterday about expectations at Mississippi State athletics-wise. He'll freely tell you they're a baseball school, okay? It's the most important thing due to their history and lineage with Coach Polk. But they finally break through. After having a lot of great teams, man,
Yep.
a lot, and they finally broke through and won it all. Well, this would be a lot like 2009 and 10. As you covered, you've been in this city a long time, and you were there.
And Auburn,
Alabama and Auburn back-to-back.
Yeah.
Alabama, from the first time since 1992, and Nick Saban's first national title, first of 6, they win it out in the Rose Bowl in 2009 and go undefeated. But what does Auburn do? They come back in the under Gene Chizik, and in his second season, they run the table, and they end up a national champion, and they win their first since 1957, I believe. And so Auburn and Alabama go back-to-back. What a story it would be in the state of Mississippi. And this is 2 schools now, and this should send a message because they don't have state lotteries. I'm talking about the state of Mississippi. That Ole Miss and State back-to-back years could win college baseball national championships.
Right.
That would be a really neat thing. It's kind of what I'm rooting for here. And then I believe who we talked about yesterday, the senior slugger who's got, I want to say 23 home runs, Tim Elka, who hit one yesterday to win. The day before. 2 days ago. Pardon me. When they clinched basically one win away from the finals. He said, if we get to Omaha, we're going to be national champions. And so he kind of called his own shot, and so far so good. But going to be interesting tonight because they take on the Razorbacks with a chance to clinch a berth to the finals.
The most insane tweet that I saw.
Okay.
From Wes Rucker.
Oh, Lord. And Wes Rucker's been on this show,
Yeah.
Go Vols 24/7,
Yeah.
covers Tennessee.
Put on there that Tennessee went 6-1 against the 5 teams left in the College World Series.
Well, let me tell you something about that. That doesn't matter. They're at home. Look, Alabama wasn't very good. They were up and down. They were mediocre.
Yeah.
You know what Alabama's record against Arkansas and Ole Miss was? 6-1.
Yeah.
So who cares? Alabama didn't
not
even
there,
make an
though.
arena.
That's
They're not
Tennessee's
there.
You
You can't still say, well, you had a really good team, but you're not one of the all-time greats because you gagged,
Yeah.
okay? You gagged. You absolutely freaking gagged. You choked. You choked on sauce, and you lost, okay? And you can't even say you're the second-best team because the team that whipped you got whooped yesterday. They're not even there anymore.
And Notre Dame.
So you gagged. Baseball is a hard sport. It's the hardest one to go wire to wire. They were the best team in the regular season, Scott. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, no doubt about it.
They were, and even for part of the postseason, they won the SEC tournament. But they absolutely choked when it mattered most against Notre Dame. They just gagged. Period. And they're a really good program now. Tony Vitello has done a remarkable job of revitalizing that program since the days of Rod Delmonico. But absolutely, I've seen Alabama gag. I've seen Auburn gag. I mean, you could say in 2010 that team with Hunter Morris, they should have won a regional at home. It happens in baseball. It's really funny how all of a sudden we just talked about it. You can't explain it. Because I'll tell you this, beyond a shadow of a doubt, did I expect Ole Miss to be here right now? Not at all. And to be the only undefeated team in college baseball in the postseason, Scott, no, you can't explain baseball. Baseball is funny.
All right, we got to get a break in. When we come back, I'm going to bring up Dirt Neck.
He's my favorite subject lately.
Because I've got some numbers that
I heard one of our sponsors call himself a dirt lawyer. I started thinking about Dirt Neck.
I've got some numbers that are just mind-blowing for everybody at home. And it does deal with Dirt Neck. All right? All right, we'll take a break.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning. Inbound traffic continuing to move along nicely this morning. Traffic level heavy, but we don't have any wrecks or stalls or traffic signal problems on the board. You be safe. Maybe we can keep it that way through the morning. No hose, no mask. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Outdoor season is coming. Can't wait.
Here at Brooks & Collier, neither can we. Outdoor season is also grilling season.
And we have plenty of grills and smokers in stock from Traeger, Blaze, and Big Green Egg.
There's the greenhouse, new indoor items and home furnishings as well.
Whatever it takes. Browse over 2 acres of furnishings. Can't wait.
How about you? North Alabama's indoor and outdoor living headquarters for over 75 years.
813 Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Want to save some money?
I can take money and I can make it into more money.
Just check out our zone deals online at 977ESPN.com. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to Talking Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, 256-576-4977. That's the number of the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Get in on the show this morning if you would like. And Jimbo Fisher's contract. We all know how massive this contract is, and how does his contract ever wind up to being worth it? Here's a breakdown of the challenging scenario, okay? We all know that he signed a contract last fall, gave him a fully guaranteed 10-year, $75 million contract. That runs from 2022 to 2031. Drew, it's worth $94.95 million. It's still fully guaranteed, okay? So here are the buyout numbers for Jimbo Fisher.
It does have one?
There is a buyout number, okay?
Right.
If Jimbo Fisher, and it goes completely south with this historical recruiting class.
They're already that's what just drives me bananas. They're already picking their defense to be the best. And we heard the czar this morning.
I've got that topic coming up here in a little
I just
bit.
can't.
Future ratings.
That's really pissing me off, by the way.
All right. Well, Jimbo Fisher's buyout this year, if everything went south, it would cost Texas A&M $85 million.
That's a lot of oil, Scott. That's a lot of oil.
To get rid of Jimbo Fisher.
I'm telling you, he never has to work again. This is it. This will be the last coaching job he ever has, because I'll predict he will be fired one day. He will not win a national championship, and they'll can his ass.
He is not going to get fired before at least 2029, judging by these buyout numbers. In 2023, his buyout number is $76 million. In 2024, it goes down to $67 million.
Man, I hope they keep losing like 4 games a year, man.
In 2025, it's $58 million. Drew, in 2026, if Texas A&M is still struggling, it's going to cost Texas A&M $48 million. His buyout does not fall below $19 million until 2029. It's $19.8 million in 2029.
Well, they're betting on a dude that's had 2 good years. I guess 3. ATM, in the COVID year lost 1 game, but they still lost to Alabama by 30. I mean, good Lord. I got to give Jimmy Sexton credit for that. I think that's his agent. I think he's under that tree there. I got to give Jimmy credit, because Jimmy is just absolutely raking in the cash.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
if Jimbo Fisher struggled this past year, okay, let's say Jimbo Fisher, and I hate to do it, but went Ed Orgeron and just completely
ends up with a losing record
out this past year, in 2021, his buyout would have been $95 million.
They're stuck.
They are stuck with Jimbo Fisher.
They are really counting on him to do this.
That's my point, is that
because here's another point, and I know you didn't look it up, but I know there isn't one. Since Nick Saban has been in Tuscaloosa, and he of course showed up in 2007, Scott, he hasn't had one. And he redefined the salary structure in the SEC. He's the reason all these coaches are making this kind of money, but he doesn't even have a buyout. Because, again, Alabama, I think the administration, I got to give them credit, and Nick Saban as well, they knew what they hired, and they figured, look, if he wants to leave or retire, he can, to go somewhere else, but we're going to give him the tools he needs to stay here, and he's going to continue to win at the highest level. Jimbo, I mean, good Lord. I mean, he's had 2 good years, 3, I guess, really, when you count the one at HEM, but he only won a championship in one of them, and that was when we're talking about gagging and choking here. Sorry, Gus. But Auburn was up 21-3 and couldn't close the deal. I just wonder.
Jimbo Fisher has yet to have a double-digit win season at Texas A&M.
No. Here's what I wonder, though. I wonder because that's right, because they played 10 games, they went 9-1, and did ATM? But did they win
went 9-4, 8-5, 9-1, 8-4.
And so they didn't play a bowl game in that COVID year?
The COVID year was 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won the Orange Bowl. But
So
they
they were
still
10.
went 9-1.
Oh, that's right. One of the games was canceled.
Yeah.
There you go. But I'm just saying, I mean, that's crazy. It blows my mind. He's had 3 good years, and his buyout is probably the highest in college football.
Oh, so this past year Nick Saban, it says right here that this past fall, Nick Saban's buyout would have been $38.4 million.
Well, I've always been under the impression he didn't have one.
But I guess maybe that is to buy out the contract.
I think that's what's left on his contract.
Probably.
But I don't think he has an official buyout.
That you know, just to put this in comparison, at the end of the 2021 season, this past football season, Jimbo Fisher's buyout was $95.575 million. The next closest coach was Dabo Swinney at $47 million. So Jimbo Fisher nearly doubled that amount for the 2021 season as far as buyout. To say that Texas A&M put everything in the pot
and pushed everything in the middle of the poker.
To do this with Jimbo Fisher is an understatement.
I want it to fail.
Terms of the buyout.
I want it to fail. I want it to fail. I want it to fail miserably. And I want them to have to pay this guy for 7 years.
There are some coaches that don't even.
This will be worse. This will be worse than Bobby Bonilla. This would be worse, where the Mets are still paying him until he's like 70 or whatever.
His buyout in 2026 is $48 million.
Ugh.
If that is a 5-year coach's contract, that's still over $9 million a season. His buyout would be more than some coaches' salaries still in 2026. All right, Richard's with us this morning. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, guys. On Saban, if we fire him, we owe him a buyout, but he could leave anytime he wants to, and he does not have a buyout to leave if he wanted to go.
That's a good point, Richard. That's what I was referencing.
Yes, he could have gone to Texas
for nothing.
How many years ago?
Yeah.
And and he was free and clear to go, but we could not fire him without a buyout. So,
good point there.
Yeah, so that's the difference because and I guess part of it was he probably wouldn't have come to Alabama without that deal. And then, like you said, as long as you make sure he has the tools to win. He's been here now 15 years, 16 years. So it's worked.
It's certainly it's totally revitalized the university and Texas A&M. Maybe that'll pay off. Maybe this clown will win a championship.
It'll pay off to Jimbo's bank account. It'll pay off. Yeah.
I mean, they've pushed all their poker chips in the middle, Richard.
Actually, what he should do is just kick back and go to the beach every weekend, and and kind of screw off where he does get pull an Ed there. He can get fired and retire. He ought to pull an Ed and start chasing women and stuff. So.
Oh, he could do pretty much. I mean, he could pretty much do anything that he wanted. I mean, with that with those buyout numbers, I mean, I know Texas A&M has deep pockets, but they're not that deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess as long as you don't, I'm sure there's some sort of moral clause in there, but outside of basically just make sure you lose games. There's not much you can do, but pay him as long as like I said, I'm sure there's things about getting arrested and like that in the contract, but as long as you just lose games and sit in your office and watch TV all day.
Well, I will say this, Richard. If Scott referenced all the buyout numbers by 2025 and 26, if he's still losing 3 or 4 by then, they're going to trump something up on him and probably try to fire him for cause and not have to pay him the buyout would be my guess. And then they'll end up in court.
Yeah, or they may. I mean, with that kind of money, you might even settle because it's one thing, if you're arguing over $1 million versus 500,000, but in his case, if you get half of it, because somebody will still hire him.
Right.
I mean, so he'll be employed, within a year or so after that. You guys were talking about baseball, and I don't keep up with the Major League draft, but did you see who's projected to be number one in the Major League draft coming up? And I'm not sure when it is.
I did not see
Andrew Jones' son.
I knew he had a son that was a great prospect, but he's slated to go number one, huh?
Well, because these are projections, just like whether Jabari Smith goes or Holmgren goes. I guess in the NBA, it's all projected, so you don't know until like in the NBA until Thursday night. But yeah, he plays at a private school in Atlanta, but I guess he must be pretty good because I think he signed with Vanderbilt, I believe.
Okay. Gotcha.
So,
which means, even though Tim Corbin signed him, that we will likely never see him on the college level.
Correct. And I'm going from memory, and I think Jeff Flauser's son's on the same high school team.
Oh, wow.
It's one of the private schools, maybe Pace, I can't remember. It's one of the private schools kind of, around the Governor's, kind of around Buckhead in there. But, I'm sure they must have a pretty good team.
Oh, yeah.
One thing on the NBA draft, if Davidson for Alabama gets drafted, that will be 3 players in a row, maybe more, from the state of Alabama drafted. If you had Kyra, Herb, and if Davidson could get drafted tomorrow, you'll have 3 players in a row from high schools in Alabama drafted. And there could have been one before Kyra, but I'm just going from memory here. So
yeah, I mean, it would be significant. It sounds like it's going to be second round, though. I hate it, but just the way the process is gone. And I know Keon Ellis could potentially get drafted as well from the University of Alabama, and it'll be historical because very strongly it looks like Jabari Smith of Auburn will go number 1 overall to Orlando.
Correct, and then for Auburn, Kessler projected in the 20s, so most people think he's going somewhere in the 20s, so they'll actually have 2 guys drafted there.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
But like I said, I was just thinking about Alabama high schools, and I can't think of who maybe before Kyra, from high schools in Alabama that that was drafted. And like I said, there may have been one the year before that played not in Alabama and Auburn, but like I said, I'm just trying to think. But 3 years in a row may be about a record in there. Maybe the 80s and the kind of Wimp and Sonny era. Yeah. You may have had
3 in a row. I mean, even when we had DeMarcus Cousins,
Bledsoe.
Those 2 go out. I don't know.
They may have been the same year even.
Yeah.
Out. But I'm just thinking, you get like 3 or 4 in a row, and then sometimes too, because just like the Auburn guys are both from Georgia, so they're not state of Alabama.
That's right.
High school guys, they both played high school in Georgia. So I'm just wondering about. But like I said, in the 80s, you had like Buck Johnson and those guys from Alabama and Horry and people like that. So they may have possibly had it back, in the 80s. In there, but I was just trying to think. I have to go back and look at that. But I don't know who before Kyra from the state was drafted.
Yeah, well, and when we had Kyra on after he was drafted, we were talking about how we believe he was the first Madison County young man to ever go in the first round. And for Alabama, with Colin Sexton, Kyra, and now potentially JD, that's 3 point guards in a row. When we know JQ Javon Quinterly has come back because of his knee injury. Richard, but that's pretty significant. Alabama, for the first time since the 80s into the early 90s, getting guys drafted every year potentially.
Yeah, from the state of Alabama, Cousins and Bledsoe both went in the draft in 2010.
2010.
So they're both from Alabama. They both went in the draft in the 2010.
Yeah, and like I said before, Kyra, there may have been a dry spell. I'll have to kind of, like I said, go back and look in there, but. But Alabama, I guess, didn't have anybody go in the first round. I guess they had Sexton, but not from the state of Alabama.
Well, the last one that was before Colin, I think, and from the state of Alabama was Gerald Wallace, and that was like 01, I think.
Golly.
Yeah.
In the first round?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, round 1, yeah. Correct.
Because I don't even know.
Because Richard went in the second
Richard went in the second after that.
And Mo Williams, even though he wasn't from the state of Alabama. Yep.
Yeah, they had, like I said, because sometimes they could have played, South Alabama or, kind of like the fellow. I don't think he's going to get drafted, but the fellow up at Murray State, from down around Mobile.
Tevin Brown, yeah.
Yeah, had a real good season. And there's a possibility, he might get drafted. You could have had somebody like that you just kind of lose track of out. So, but I just thought that was, hopefully he'll get drafted. But good for Alabama high school, players there to hopefully get three guys in a row in the NBA draft out. So
yeah.
We'll see you guys later then.
Thanks, Richard.
Yep.
Okay, see you.
By the way, just in case anyone is counting, we are 73 days away from getting off
John
the football
Hanna.
season.
Yep.
So
Jeremy
there
Nunley,
you
the
go.
late, great Jeremy Nunley.
73 days away from kicking this thing off. But anyway, I thought that was interesting about the whole
Dirt neck.
Jimbo Fisher, the Jimbo Fisher stuff.
He's got it made, man.
Yep. Even 3 subpar seasons from 2022 to 24 would still mean A&M still is on the hook for $67 million, which is roughly triple
Please
the
continue
largest
to be 8-4
buyout
University.
ever paid
Please.
in the sport.
Please continue to be 8-4 University. This is what I want. I want him to have to negotiate some buyout so he ends up at some TV network, getting paid a ton of money for being an 8-4 football coach.
Let's get a break in, because when we come back, we've got the full list of quarterbacks going to the Manning Passing Academy. An interesting one for Ole Miss. It's not who you think it is that's going to the Manning Passing Academy. We'll fill you in on that. And ESPN is rights with the SEC when it comes to college football. When will they be airing SEC games?
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got a wreck coming out of Limestone County. This one's on Blackburn Road in the Owens area. May have an injury there. HPD is working one Bibb Garrett and Mooresville Road. Sounds like that one's going to turn out to be a no injury. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
The defending world champs are answering the call. The Braves' run for a title heats up this summer, and we'll bring it to you live.
Fly ball to deep center field. That is gone! Matt Olson with a bomb to center field.
Tonight, don't miss a minute of Atlanta Braves baseball live from Truist Park as Dansby Swanson and the Braves take on the San Francisco Giants. Braves Radio goes on the air at 6:05 Eastern, 5:05 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
Hey Dad, cool if I change this?
They may not get each other's music, but they can both get a COVID-19 booster shot. Because the CDC recommends booster shots for people 12 years and older after completion of a primary series. Schedule an appointment as soon as you are eligible. Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of the Stanton Law Firm. Stan, I guess you are the Stanton in the law firm.
Yes, Wes, that's me, and we started the Stanton Law Firm so that myself and 4 other attorneys with me can help clients litigate, negotiate, and creatively solve legal and real estate problems.
Now, Stan, you grew up on a family farm in this area and have made a name closing on houses and land with your closing company, Jacob Title.
I grew up on a farm which used to be in the country. That, plus having closed on so many homes and farms, one of my colleagues started referring to me as a classic dirt lawyer. Now, I didn't know how to take that at first, that tag, But I realize that's exactly what I do and what I am.
Dan, I know the attorneys at Stanton Law Firm are regular listeners, and we plan to have you on periodically. You and I have seen have impacted this community.
Stay tuned, and you may hear about friends like Steve Booker, Clarence Johnson, Thomas Boyd, and even a few of those offensive line hogs like Hoss Johnson, and maybe you remember some other of those guys too.
I remember Clarence Johnson. He beat us one year. He was unbelievable.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
At Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, people call the award-winning burgers totally insane, which is a compliment because Bad Daddy's Burgers are just that, chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness built with premium Angus beef. They're bold and they're bad. Pair one with one of their signature cocktails or assortment of local craft brews. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, 2317 Memorial Parkway. Check out our menu and even order online at baddaddysburgerbar.com.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. And the full list of quarterbacks are out that are headed to the Manning Passing Academy in a week or so down there. Actually, it's going to run starting tomorrow at Nichols State in Louisiana. Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Archie Manning, that's who founded it. The list of quarterbacks look like this. Some of them from the SEC. Will Levis from Kentucky will be on hand. Drew Pine from Notre Dame, Spencer Rattler from South Carolina, Will Rogers from Mississippi State, C.J. Stroud from Ohio State, Ty Thompson from Oregon is headed to the Manning Passing Academy, Mike Wright from Vanderbilt, Bryce Young of Alabama will be on hand, Stetson Bennett from Georgia, Miles Brennan from LSU will be on hand for the Manning Passing Academy. Hendon Hooker of Tennessee, KJ Jefferson of Arkansas will be on hand. The quarterback from Ole Miss will be Luke Altmaier.
I knew that's what you were about to say. It's not Jackson Dart, it's Luke
Yeah.
Altmaier.
Luke Altmaier getting a lot of attention in this offseason. Because of, and don't be surprised if Luke Altmaier is not the starting quarterback for the Ole Miss Rebels.
You mentioned it a couple of weeks ago about what David Johnson said during my absence, that Jackson Dart, the USC transfer, was not picking up the offense. And so Luke Altmaier may still be the favorite. We saw him play significantly when Matt Corral got hurt in the Sugar Bowl. And he didn't play that well, but he played. And I just remember when Mac Jones had to come off the bench when Tua Tagovailoa got injured, and he didn't play well. But when he had a chance to prepare and be the quarterback and start a game, as he did against Chad Morris's Arkansas Razorbacks, one of the worst football teams I've ever laid my eyes on, Mac Jones took them apart. And Mac played well in the Iron Bowl when he was able to prepare to be the starter when Tua was still out. So, again, it's different when you know you're the guy. So that's going to be an interesting quarterback battle.
Connor Bazelak, by the way, from Indiana.
Oh, that's right.
He's going to be on hand for the Manning Passing Academy.
That's interesting because, he bailed out from Missouri and Coach Drinkwitz.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we'll have to see if we can get our good friend
Mike Detillier
on after all of this is settled and get his thoughts from the Manning Passing Academy. Those are some of the quarterbacks. John Rice Plumlee from UCF. Remember, he transferred to UCF. Yeah. He's going to be on hand.
Hold on. As a quarterback?
Yes. John Rice Plumlee, from UCF, who transferred from Ole Miss, is going to be at the Manning Passing Academy.
I'll just say I was underwhelmed by his passing ability at Ole Miss. He can run. I mean, he ran for 1,000 yards for Rich Rod, but when he was the OC there, before Matt Luke got dismissed. But
who, by the way, he's now at Jacksonville State. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, as head coach.
Yeah.
But I never thought Plumlee was that good a passer. I didn't know the Gus Bus was considering him a quarterback.
Anthony Richardson of Florida.
Yeah, he's the favorite for their job.
He'll be on hand at the Manning Passing Academy. I thought it was interesting. No Bo Nix.
Yeah.
It's Ty Thompson from Oregon getting the invite.
Well, all I got to say for that is if Bo's not the quarterback at Oregon for Dan Lanning and Ty Thompson wins the job, yeesh.
Yeah, this doesn't mean they're the starting quarterbacks for their
Right.
schools. It's just interesting who gets the invites.
But it does make you think, though.
That is what I was thinking. Yes, it does kind of make you go, huh.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, wondering just a little bit on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Clifford, who we will see inside Jordan-Hare Stadium later this season, from Penn State, getting the invite to head to the
and then
Manning
Penn State, just a quick shout-out. I know just because you brought them up, he committed yesterday to Marion Parker from Central of Phoenix City. So the Penn State Nittany Lions, they come into the state of Alabama and get a defensive lineman.
Max Johnson
Yeah.
from Texas A&M heading to the Manning Passing Academy.
Mm-hmm.
Not Haynes King.
Oh, that's another very interesting one. I mean, Dirt Neck needed some insurance, I think, just in case Haynes King, who, by the way, much like maybe not quite as poorly as John Rice Plumlee, underwhelmed me as a passer against Alabama and during the 2020 COVID year. So I'm anxious to see really how good Haynes King is. And again, I'll just say it. I don't think Dirt Neck is the greatest developer of quarterback. He has this reputation of being one, but much like his entire career, I think it's overblown.
All right, 256-576-4977.
He's the most overrated coach in the history of college football, basically, in my opinion, especially for the money he's making. It's an absolute joke.
All right, in 2024, ESPN will take over for CBS when it comes to the SEC football.
Right.
Okay, so a lot of diehard SEC fans, traditionalists, they're going to miss the old CBS introduction music, the CBS 2:30 time games. Don't worry, the 2:30 time slot game is not going away.
No.
Jimmy Pitaro of ESPN kind of laid it all out there for everybody, saying that when 2024 comes, the SEC, they're excited, obviously, to have it. But the 2:30 game, ESPN will still keep some. They're going to have flexibility, he says, though. But as of right now, they're still going to have a marquee game from the SEC at 2:30 on ABC. So instead of being on ESPN, the 2:30 prime game will go to
because
ABC.
because ESPN and ABC are owned by the same company.
Yep. And they have the ability, though, to put marquee games now on Saturday night on ABC.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to be able to do that. He says they're going to have SEC games across ESPN, across ABC for all three windows on Saturday.
Including breakfast.
Yeah. Of course, there's been, because when the SEC kicks off in 24, however, they've been very thoughtful about this. There's still plenty of room, he says. Says there's still plenty of room for the Big Ten and the Pac-12. They are pursuing, because the Big Ten contract is coming up as well, and the Pac-12 deal, they are pursuing deals for the Big Ten rights and the Pac-12 rights, because right now the Big Ten is on Fox.
It is.
And so the ESPN is pursuing those, but he did shed some light into the fact that when the SEC kicks off in 2024, they will have prime time, the ability to put it in prime time, but the 2:30 matchup will still be around for the SEC.
Nice.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of fans that still want that. He says, though, that they will have the ability to have one out-of-conference SEC football game per team per year. So they'll be having a non-conference. He says once Texas and Oklahoma are in at 2025, they'll have 16 out-of-conference games to show during the preseason. In the 2024 season, it's going to be 14. That's just the deal they struck with the SEC. So there you have it. Just a little bit of light there on when ESPN takes over for CBS coming up here very, very soon.
Yeah, we'll be interested to see who the play-by-play duo is for the 2:30 game. I'm assuming the 2:30 game is still going to be the marquee game, even though I guess some of them could be at night. I mean, I don't know.
You don't think CBS is going to, or ESPN's going to bring over Gary Danielson?
No, I doubt it. I doubt it. Maybe Brad Nessler, but
that would reunite ESPN and Brad Nessler.
Yeah, that's. I don't expect Gary to be the color guy. No, I really don't. Maybe it'll be Dirtneck in a few years when he gets fired.
He cannot get fired for a long
unless they just call a couple of oil men that have got more money than they got sense, and a lot of them do.
Well, gas prices are still high. Those oil people are making a crap ton of money right now, so maybe they can't afford his buyout.
I did vote yesterday, by the way. I did vote.
Good for you. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, that's.
I mean, I didn't want to be full of it and a hypocrite and not vote after I told everybody to vote.
That's going to do it for hour one. We're going to talk some college baseball.
We're going to talk some college football, too, with our next guest, Jake Wimberly, 105.9 Jackson, Mississippi.
We can ask him about Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Madison Academy football. Stop into the University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com to view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in a Kia. Go Mustangs!
At Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, people call the award-winning burgers totally insane, which is a compliment because Bad Daddy's Burgers are just that, chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness built with premium Angus beef. They're bold and they're bad. Pair one with one of their signature cocktails or assortment of local craft brews. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, 2317 Memorial Parkway. Check out our menu and even order online at BadDaddy'sBurgerBar.com.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
And I reckon Limestone County on Blackburn Road sounds like it may have a minor injury. One on Bibb Garrett at Mooresville Road is going to be a no injury, working on getting both those cleared. Everything else has looked really good. Traffic's been moving along nicely all across the valley. Cajun Rice is back at Popeyes, and their 11-piece chicken family meal, 2 sides, 5 biscuits, now only $22.99. Popeyes University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
Rory McIlroy and Scott Scheffler, co-favorites to win this week's Travelers Championship, each at plus 1,000. Justin Thomas at plus 1,200. Patrick Cantlay plus 1,400. And Sam Burns at plus 1,800. The Lightning will try to even the Stanley Cup Finals with the Avalanche tonight. Colorado leads the series 2-1 after a 6-2 Tampa Bay win in Game 3 Monday. Both teams had minus 110 on the money line in Game 4, the over-under at 6. The Avalanche's streak of 7 straight postseason wins came to an end with that Game 3 loss. The series even between the Braves and the Giants. Game 3 tonight with Charlie Morton getting the start for Atlanta. The Braves minus 125 on the money line. San Francisco at plus 105, 8.5 the set total. I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, welcome in and welcome back to Hour 2. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you for another hour of fun. Safe travels into work wherever you may be headed on this Wednesday morning. Temperatures rising once again here in the Tennessee Valley as we get this Wednesday underway. Currently right now it's just a nice balmy 81 degrees at 8 o'clock this morning. So,
well, it was not 65 like it was the other day.
I tell you what, Monday and Tuesday, it felt so good. It felt like we were getting ready for another start of college football season, high school football season, and around there. But quickly, how things have changed. So the weather outside is hot. You almost could say the Ole Miss Rebels are about as hot as the weather right now here in Omaha, because it's been brutally hot in Omaha as well. I mean, if you think it's been warm here, the Midwest has been really about the same. And in Omaha, it has been red hot. Coincidentally, it picked up when the Rebels arrived at Charles Schwab Field.
It did. I mean, they have been the hottest team in college baseball, the only undefeated team in the postseason. Mike Bianco's group. It almost seems like they're a team of destiny right now, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk some SEC football with our next guest. We always enjoy catching up with him. He's the program director and the host of Afternoon Drive on 105.9 ESPN in Jackson, Mississippi. Also, simulcast on 106.3, and that is Jake Wimberly. You can also read his work on CFBHourglass.com. It's always great to catch up with him now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jake, welcome back. You were Drew and Scott. How are you?
Drew, Scott, doing well. It's hot, probably just the same over there, and like you said, it's hot in Omaha. So we got an interesting stretch run here going on in the state of Mississippi and around the college baseball world.
We do.
How has this run? Obviously, this run has been perceived pretty well by Rebel fans, but at this point now, has the run became so good that a national championship is the only way to end it?
I think theoretically, yeah, you would say sure. That's the best way to end it. But I think at this point, had a chance to visit with Vince Ferreira, who's on the Tennessee broadcast yesterday. We were talking about the Tennessee deal and how that whole deal, regardless of what happened, it was a successful year, and you got to look at the success. And the same for Mike Bianco. Regardless of what happens at this point in time, this has been an uber successful run for Ole Miss, and they are definitely in the catbird seat. They're in the driver's seat. They're going to get a red hot, or a really good Arkansas team that they just beat 2 nights ago that was able to advance last night. So the table's set, the cards are on the table. Ole Miss, they have the advantage, in the bullpen as far as live arms and numbers. They've hit the ball extremely well. We've been joking around about how the ball's got to look like beach balls to those batters the way that they're hitting it right now. So, right now everything is set for Ole Miss, to advance to Monday if they can close it out tonight.
Yeah, and I would say this. I said this earlier in the show, Jake. Even if they just make the finals, I think this should quiet the critics of Coach Bianco. Now, if they lost 2 in a row to Arkansas, there would still be people frustrated because they didn't make they come so close to reaching the national championship series. But to me too, it also has the feeling of what we saw back in 2009 and 10 in football when Alabama won their first since '92, and then Auburn goes back-to-back from the state of Alabama with their first since 1957. Mississippi State made history last year. We've seen the SEC Network special. It was a magical run for a program that had done everything but win it, and now this Ole Miss program, which has been redefined by Mike Bianco, this has a feeling that this could happen again, but in baseball.
Yeah, it does. We've thrown that correlation on the table. Obviously, the Alabama-Auburn correlation in football, and now with Ole Miss doing this in baseball, and everything again is going right for Ole Miss. But there is pause for caution here because it is extremely hard to win in college baseball like it is in any sport. I mean, we've seen Florida State punch 30-plus tickets, and they still haven't won it.
44, right?
Miami,
mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a lot. They have punched a lot of tickets to the College World Series yet to win one.
Oh yeah.
So there's still a lot of baseball to be played for this baseball team. But you couldn't ask for a better scenario for this ball club.
You couldn't, and you couldn't ask for a better scenario for the SEC. We were joking. This is almost like another SEC tournament. It's turned into the SEC Invitational in Omaha.
Oh, it really has. I mean, and you can go ahead and throw Oklahoma in there. I know they're still in the Big 12, but I mean, they're, basically engaged to the SEC right now. So it is. And, we were talking about this yesterday with Michael Katz, who's covering Ole Miss in Omaha, is that, I think this is a, kind of a lesson, just a reminder that regardless if you're a baseball team and you're a fan of whichever school in the Southeastern Conference, if you can get into the SEC tournament, that means you're a pretty darn good baseball team and you can make a run. I mean, Ole Miss last team into the field of 64. A lot of people thought they weren't even going to get in here. And then, of course, they got red hot. And as you guys know, baseball is all about getting hot. They just got to continue that momentum. And of course, they've got a big task to beat Arkansas. And Arkansas has equally a bigger task to win 2 ball games. But that's the type of ball team in Arkansas that can come back and win 2 ball games.
How's this Ole Miss team gotten so hot? I mean, what has clicked with them? What has gone right? I mean, because to say that they're the only team in the country that is yet to drop an NCAA tournament game, that's impressive.
It's extremely impressive, and I think that goes to the leadership of Mike Bianco and the staff at Ole Miss. And then also they've got great leadership. And Elko, who decided to come back, Tim Elko decided to come back, and, man, he has just been an absolute stud player. Not only for Ole Miss, but on the national level. And then you look at the bullpen. I mean, able to get a live arm and a great performance over the last several weeks out of the young freshman that pitched 2 nights ago. So the bullpen has come together. They've got a great 1-2 punch there in the bullpen. And then, of course, they're just hitting the baseball, as good as anybody in the country. And not just, your first 3-4 batters. They're doing it 1 through 9. And as we know, and I know it's cliche, but baseball hitting and playing is contagious. And this team right now is playing with a ton of momentum, and they've been doing so now for about the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, they really have. They've just absolutely been on fire. You were talking about Hunter Elliott, the freshman. He's as hot as any starting pitcher in the country. He's, once again had a strong start in their 13-5 win to get themselves over Arkansas to the precipice of the finals. And you talked about Tim Elko. We brought him up earlier in the show, a guy that was already a legend going into this year because playing on one leg. But he comes back. I think he's at 23 home runs. He's a senior leader for this team, and correct me if I'm wrong, and if he ends up being correct, he will never have to buy a beer again in Oxford, Mississippi. But he basically said, if we get to Omaha, we're winning it all.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever going to have to worry about buying much of anything in Oxford when it comes to beverages and food. I think he's pretty much set for life. But yeah, and you hear players a lot of times call their shots. But I think he's serious about it. I think that I think the goal is to get to the championship and to win the championship. But again, you got to pause for caution and watch this thing play out. I mean, just last year, obviously Mississippi State won the College World Series, but you've got to have some breaks along the way as well. Ole Miss has not been in that tight ball game up to this point. They've been able to kind of get out in front and stay out in front. And if you remember last year, Mississippi State, they had there's some gifts, so to speak, against Texas.
Yeah.
In that side of the bracket, and then they lose the first game to Vanderbilt. And it's weird how baseball works. The second game, a ball was hit, I believe, the second base, and it goes off the ankle of the second baseman into right field. And then the shortstop misses a ball, and then the whole thing starts tumbling. So I'll be interested to see, because I think along the way Ole Miss will get into a game, that's going to become kind of a nip and tuck type of game, how they play when that pressure is on, and how they play, if they get down and if they get behind. And if Arkansas comes back and wins tonight, I think that changes the way this whole thing looks.
Ole Miss, if they go on to win the national championship, and obviously Mississippi, the state of Mississippi gets back-to-back titles for college baseball, But in the grand scheme of things, if Ole Miss goes on to win it, what does it really mean for Mike Bianco? Where do we celebrate? How do we celebrate this? What is the meaning for him? How should we look at it?
That's a great question. And I think for Mike Bianco, one of the longest tenured coaches in the Southeastern Conference. And, this is a coach that has really, like you said earlier on in the interview, that, it has built Ole Miss baseball into what it is today. And I said this a couple of weeks ago, Mike Bianco, before he won the Super Regional down at Southern Miss, was 1-7 in Super Regional play. And there was a stretch there where they played in, I think, back-to-back Super Regionals against Miami and some others, and they were not able to close the deal and get to Omaha. If you were to flip that script, and let's just say Mike Bianco had gone, 7-2 versus 2-7, and then he gets a national championship, I think you're talking about one of the best baseball coaches in modern era of SEC baseball and the country. So if he can close this thing with a national championship, I do think you have to put him, on the shelf as one of the best coaches we've seen in the last 30 years in the Southeastern Conference. Again, you've got to take it even deeper than that, the way that he has built that stadium or been able to build the program. The fan interest, there was not a lot of fan interest in baseball 20 years ago. In Oxford.
Lord. Yeah, we brought that up, yeah.
So, I think you have to give him a ton of credit, and I think you have to look at it in the full context of, this is a man that has had this team in contention a number of years, and even though this is only their second trip to Omaha, there's a lot of teams that's never been to Omaha. So a national championship, I think that cements him as one of the best coaches in Southeastern Conference baseball over the last 30 years.
And I commend him for staying, because we know the LSU job has come open a few times, Jake, and he could have left. He did not. I know they had to have had interest in him because of what he was doing. I know he was quoted one time as telling Skip Bertman, who I guess called him, and he said, "Coach, I just can't leave." But that I also credit the Ole Miss administration for fully funding the baseball program like Mississippi State has. And so we'll see if this all pays off for the Rebels. But again, and sometimes the grass is not always greener on the other side too, because I still think if Alabama had built their baseball stadium many years earlier and Jim Wells would not have retired, the program would probably be stronger. Sometimes fans want coaches out, and I know there's been times where they've been very frustrated with Mike Bianco, but I'm just telling you, I remember how bad this Ole Miss program was, and even Vanderbilt before Tim Corbin got there. These were two of the programs that were at the bottom of the SEC, and now they're consistently one of the best in the country.
Yeah, look, you can make the argument SEC baseball is equally as competitive and as good as SEC football. Now, obviously not as popular on the national stage, but, you can also make the argument that SEC baseball is more competitive and watched than SEC basketball. So it is an extremely competitive sport in the Southeastern Conference. You're seeing stadium expansions and people changing things the way they're doing with baseball. We know how popular, baseball is in the southeastern part of the country with tournament ball and just everything that's going on from the junior college system here in the state of Mississippi, small colleges around the Southeast. So, baseball, if you're not, if you're not on your game, so to speak, in baseball, you're going to be in a pickle in the Southeastern Conference. And if you're not, on it every year, and you can take Mississippi State, a team that won the whole thing last year. Maybe some recruiting misses along the way for Chris Lemonis, and you see they're having to kind of restart this thing, going to the transfer portal and trying to find kids to get back in the game, so to speak.
Yeah, they really are. That's a great point. But and now, before we let you go, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up some SEC football. And we debated this yesterday, and I kind of went on a rant, and I got angry about it with Matt Hayes, who I don't really respect all that much. But I've got to say this. He was ranking the SEC coaches, and he has Jimbo up there in the top 4. And I know he won a national championship at Florida State, but if you go back and you really analyze his body of work at Texas A&M so far is the same as Kevin Sumlin's. And really, if it wasn't for 13 and 14, those years at Florida State, it was very mediocre. He had Mike Leach, the Pirate, well below Fisher in the head coach rankings. He had Lane Kiffin below him. Both of them whipped him last year. And he had Mike Leach on the hot seat saying if they didn't have a good year this year, he'd be fired. And I thought they made a lot of progress last year. Is Mike Leach coming into this year on the hot seat? I don't see it as that. What is your thoughts?
No, No, he is not on the hot seat. I can say that definitively. He is not on the hot seat. Now, if Mike comes out and this team has a 4-8 type year, they get beat in the Egg Bowl, excuse me, then yes, he would be on the hot seat. But this team is not a 4-8 football team. This team is a team that's going to win 6, 7. They'll have a chance to win 8. Along the way, there's going to be some tight ball games like always in the Southeastern Conference. I mean, he's got the quarterback that he needs right now. He's got another kid on that roster, too, that's making some push as well. So, I mean, this team is a nice football team. It's a nice Southeastern Conference team. I do not see Mike Leach on the hot seat whatsoever.
Wow.
I don't either. I just can't see it. And I think Lane Kiffin has done a better job considering what he's done at Ole Miss than what Dirtneck, a.k.a. Jimbo Fisher, is. That's my new nickname for him on the show. I think Jimbo Fisher, we were talking about his buyout, Jake, today. Scott brought that up. He brought up the numbers. His buyout is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Texas A&M has completely pushed their poker chips in the middle of the table, and I think they're going to I don't think this is going to work. What irritates me is, and you've seen the polls, some polls have A&M going to the college football playoff. How? What did they do to garner that except for buy a recruiting class, which doesn't even guarantee you anything because we don't know how these guys are going to perform on the field. It blows my mind that A&M is being lauded by some morons as a college football playoff contender.
Yeah, well, first off, as you guys know, they'll have to beat Alabama to do that, and I don't see that happening this year, especially with that game being in Tuscaloosa, and Alabama's a well more put-together football team, I think, than Texas A&M. But, I think that's the inflated expectations that we have out of the state of Texas, and you can take that all the way over to the Texas Longhorns, who Alabama, as you know, plays in the second week of the season. There's an inflated expectation of Texas football as a collective because of the state and the money that comes into that state. And then, of course, you talk about the recruiting. Everybody's looking at the recruiting class that Texas A&M put together. And we know that recruiting matters. But what we also know is just ask Georgia. It took Kirby Smart several years of several great recruiting classes to put it together and to finally be able to get over on Alabama last year. So Jimbo Fisher still has a lot of work to do. I don't think that, he is one of the top 3 or 4 coaches. I could put him around number 5 in the Southeastern Conference, but I do. He's got a lot of work to do, and all of the eyes are going to be on him. And watch that Week 3 game against Miami. That's what I'm looking at. If the Hurricanes can go in there and beat them,
boy, I'm going to be rooting for them.
Can go upside down for him. So that's going to be a very pivotal game to see how good this football team is. And to your point, Lane Kiffin, I think, pound for pound has done more with less in a shorter amount of time than Texas A&M. So, I mean, all the cards are on the table, and Jimbo Fisher, it's almost to the point of he's going to have to produce and put together a really, really good year and show that this thing is actually heading in the right direction.
One final thought from you, Jake, before we let you go. Scott's brought this up with Ole Miss. They've brought in probably more transfer portal dudes than anybody in the SEC, probably about 17. I still think they're kind of a wild card. They're polarizing because you don't know how this roster is going to fit together. Plus, they had to make a change at defensive coordinator because DJ Durkin left to go to Texas A&M. See, that's another thing. A&M's defense being lauded as the best in the country, and they've got a new coordinator. Durkin's really good, but how good – when will we find out in your mind how good this Ole Miss team is going to be?
I think it's going to be about a month into the season. The schedule sets up well for them early. They've got several games early that they're going to be able to get a lot of these guys and get a lot of reps and try to get some continuity on that team. They do have to go to Georgia Tech, but that's not an ultra scary game for them. I think it's when Kentucky comes to town about week 5 or 6. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I think that's when we find out how good this Ole Miss team is. They do get Kentucky at home. But Ole Miss has a chance to run out 4-0, 5-0, maybe even 6-0 if they can beat Kentucky. The back end of the schedule is extremely brutal for Ole Miss, obviously with the SEC West gauntlet there. So I think it's really going to be a month before we see. You'll probably see some big numbers put up early. There'll be a lot of talk about Lane Kiffin and bringing in a lot of the transfer guys, but I'm circling that game against Kentucky about week 5.
All right. Well, great stuff, Jake. We always appreciate the time. Jackson, Mississippi, 105.9, afternoon drive from 3 to 6. Let everybody know how to connect with you.
Yeah, hey, I'm on Twitter at Jake Wim. You can always stream us if you're looking for other great shows in the afternoon around the SEC footprint at thezone1059.com, cfbhourglass.com also for SEC content. And, guys, I always appreciate coming on your show.
Thank you, Jake.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back and continue the conversation, more college baseball talk ahead.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The world champs are back. The Braves are out to defend their world championship. And behind Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna, Dansby Swanson, Max Fried, and this loaded 2022 roster, a repeat is within reach.
There goes Ozzie, 2-2 on the way, hit well. Deep center field. Might have ourselves a tie ball game. You betcha.
And we'll bring you every huge moment of the Braves 2022 season right here on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
Aw, you didn't have to go so all out for my birthday.
Yes, we did. Because birthdays are about showing your friends how much you care for them and how grateful you are for their... This is Jamie from Progressive. No, this is a great time. Progressive protects you 24/7. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry that happened.
Jamie.
Can you hold on 1 second? I gotta take this call, but remember, birthdays are about togetherness.
Contact us 24/7 on the phone, online, or on the mobile app. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Covered subject to policy terms.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey Wes, our company Fleming Roofing and Restoration specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey Wes, we show up.
Did you know that your car, truck, or SUV may be worth over 30 or 40% more than it was last year? It's true. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we'd love your trade-in for a personalized custom factory order on a 2022 Explorer, Expedition, Ranger, or F1. We interrupt this message to announce our $1,000 appreciation cash reward. Attention all active military, reservists, retirees, and all veterans, plus first responders, police, fire department, EMTs, and medical professionals. An appreciation for making Huntsville the great city it is. You'll receive a $1,000 exclusive reward in addition to any public offers on most all 22 Fords. So please come see us today. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. At Woody Anderson Ford, whether it's a new order or a pre-owned, we promise to always do the right thing. Corner of Jordan and Sparkman, hope to see you soon.
Do you want bad internet or good internet? Because WOW has good internet. Internet 100 is extra reliable, super fast, and just $24.99 a month. Plus, learn how to get a year of HBO Max included at wowway.com. Wow. Limited to new internet customers with auto-pay and paperless billing. Subject to change. Terms apply.
Just got a wreck reported in the 300 block of Sutton Road. That's going to be near 431, right in front of Walmart. That one's coming in with injury. They called for additional help on that wreck on Blackburn Road in Limestone County, and Bibb Garrett and Mooresville Road was a no injury. Should be about ready to wrap up. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. We're with you until 9. Just a short time left this morning on the show in what has been an entertaining show. We still have a lot of stuff to get through, but we're also going to bring in our second guest of the morning.
Yes, we are, and we frequently had him on the show. Does a great job for hogsports.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network, no doubt about it. And he covers Arkansas athletics in its entirety. He does a great job covering football, basketball, baseball for them, especially basketball recruiting as well. And Eric Musselman's program, who is bringing in one of the best recruiting classes in the country. A couple of Elite Eight finishes for him, so they're going to have very high expectations. Scott, you and I have been talking about Sam Pittman this week and where they stand, and Arkansas football certainly has made a remarkable turnaround under him.
Oh, huge.
And then what a run for Dave Van Horn. As disappointing as last year was because of the dominant regular season, not losing an SEC series, now Arkansas 2 wins away from the finals. Certainly going to be a task to beat this red-hot Ole Miss team twice in a row. But Arkansas athletics right now as strong as it's been in a long time, and Curtis Wilkerson is going to join us as he's, Trey Biddy, a great friend of ours as well. This is probably the preeminent site covering Arkansas, and we're going to talk some Razorback athletics right now with Curtis. Curtis, welcome back to Huntsville, Alabama. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
Hey, guys, I'm doing good. I appreciate the kind words. Hope I find you well this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't jinx it last night. I know I texted you like in the latter stages of the game. As I told you, I probably would have had to call in sick if they'd blown like a 9-1 lead. But Arkansas, 11-1. Dave Van Horn, if he had written it up, probably couldn't have asked for a better script for the Razorbacks last night against Auburn. They put that game away early, and it was kind of on cruise control. But the Razorbacks get a rematch tonight at 6 o'clock against the red-hot Ole Miss Rebels to try to get back to the finals. And we know just a few seasons ago they were a foul pop away from winning it all.
Yeah. I mean, it's been quite the turn of events. For this Razorback team, they came into the season, obviously, with a lot of high expectations. That's kind of the norm around Fayetteville for this baseball program. Got off to a hot start, scuffled down the stretch of the regular season and into Hoover. Everybody's familiar with that story at this point. But seemed like once postseason play hit, and got into that regional, they really started to hit their stride. Found some more consistency with their pitching. The lineup, which sure projected as one that was going to be deep with no easy outs, but they really struggled to get timely hits, runners in scoring position throughout the regular season. Kind of figured that out. So seemed like things were really clicking. You had a big win over Stanford to open things up there in Omaha, and then ran into a buzzsaw in Ole Miss. And one of the Achilles heels for Arkansas this year has been seeing those tough left-handed starters, and that certainly got them the other day. But quite the bounce back last night. And like you said, that's a perfect script to get the game in hand early. You got Will McIntyre on the mound, and once you get deeper into this thing, especially when you go into the losers bracket. The depth of your pitching is really what's going to determine how far along you're going to get. And you get 7 innings out of Will McIntyre last night and be able to save some of your bigger arms. That was huge. So it is a tall order facing an Ole Miss team that's red hot. Have they lost in
No.
I was just going to say, I mean, as good as Arkansas has been, the tough part is now, in order to stay alive, they have to beat Ole Miss not once but twice. Yeah. And Ole Miss has yet to lose once in the whole tournament.
Yeah, it's incredible the run they've been on. You talked about maybe Arkansas hitting some roadblocks down the stretch of the regular season. Ole Miss is one of the last teams into the field, and it just goes to show you how crazy baseball is, where it's really about who's clicking and who's playing the best ball at the right time. And they certainly are. That lineup is tough. Obviously, anchored by Tim Elko, and he had a big blast in that game against the Razorbacks the other day. And they've had the time to be able to rest up for a day and prepare for this one. They've got a little bit of leeway. They've only got to win once. Arkansas's got to win twice. But if you're going to be in this situation that the Razorbacks are, I'm okay with the way it lines up for them, because you have gotten 14 plus innings out of the starting pitchers with Connor Nolan in Game 1 and then McIntyre in Game 3. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility with maybe the arms you have to use compared to some other teams who would be playing, a fourth game here in just a few days. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Arkansas can establish the tone and maybe get some runs on the board early. They were playing from behind the Rebels the other day. So it's going to start with whoever they decide to go with on the mound, but they're going to have to swing the bats as well. It looks like they're facing another lefty this evening.
Well, and talk about McIntyre, though. What a remarkable story he is. I was watching the broadcast and hearing about it. A guy that left the program, wasn't with them in the postseason last year, but now throws has the best performance of his career to get Arkansas, to the Final Four of Omaha.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And you touch on his story from last year and even this year. It's been just a wild ride for him. I think Arkansas used upwards of 20 pitchers this year. He was one of the very last ones to get a look. And, went to Dave Van Horn's office and said, hey, Coach, I can help this team. You probably hear that from everybody that walks in here, but I believe it. And they gave him a shot and threw him out there in some midweeks, and he showed well. That evolved and, just kind of some mop-up duty on the weekends. And then eventually you see him start to progress into more high-leverage situations. And he's a big piece for you come postseason play. And, he had a big outing in long relief against Oklahoma State in that Stillwater Regional, which was wild.
Crazy.
And then he earned the Game 2 start in Chapel Hill in a winner moves on game against North Carolina and just absolutely shoved. He was brilliant. And, I think that gave Arkansas a lot of confidence in him. And you just think about his story and the way he's progressed, and he goes out there last night, just felt pretty good about what you're going to get out of him. But he still finds a way to exceed expectations. And, he was filthy. I think he had one point where he struck out 5 or 6 guys in a row. And to go 7 innings for a guy that hasn't been fully stretched out throughout the course of the year, and a lot of it was effortless, that was huge for this Razorback team. It's a great story. You love to see it. He's a good kid and has gone from maybe being an afterthought to one of the most pivotal pieces of this pitching staff for the Hogs.
How much taste did this year's run to Omaha get rid of last year for this Arkansas program?
Well, it certainly helped, for them to get there, and that's something that is stuck in the crawl of I'm sure the players and the team. They don't talk about it. You're a different team, but certainly the fan base felt the effects of that. After the run that they had in the regular season last year, to fall short, not only of just falling short of getting to Omaha, but to fall on your home field with Kevin Kopps on the mound. It was just a nightmare ending to that season. And for the bumps that they had in the road along the way this year, for them to battle back through some adversity and get to this point was huge. But I think people still have the bigger picture, in mind here. This is 11 appearances in the College World Series for Arkansas. They're still chasing that elusive title. Dave Van Horn has just been absolutely incredible for 2 decades at Arkansas, and you almost feel like he's earned it at this point. So, people would love to see him get that ring. And, you look at the way this thing shapes up, and it's favorable for Arkansas in a sense of, everything that they've been through. And you think about the gauntlet that you play in the SEC, and people say, hey, it prepares you for the postseason. It prepares you for the College World Series. Well, most of the teams are there out of the SEC West, so they're not going to be seeing anything too odd. So, it's been a nice run for the Razorbacks, but I think it might ease the sting of last year a little bit, but people want to win that thing. And, Arkansas, despite needing to win 2 games here, is still in a strong position to do that. Anytime you're one of the final 4 teams left in the field, you want to go ahead and finish the job. So people be proud of the program, regardless, but I think they're all hungry to keep on moving here.
Well, we're talking to Curtis Wilkerson, hogsports.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network, talking Razorbacks, athletics, and now SEC Media Days less than a month away football-wise. A difficult schedule for Sam Pittman at Arkansas, but he's done a remarkable job in a short time turning this program around. The expectations, we've had people on, including Jake Crane of Crane and Company, national radio, program, television, YouTube show, radio show that is a simulcast, and he's someone that he told us he thinks Arkansas, even with this difficult schedule, could potentially be 10-2 and finish second in the West. What are the expectations for Sam Pittman in this Hogs program going into this season?
Yeah, I think you nailed it there. I mean, the expectations are heightened, and that's the point that you want to get as a program when you compete in the SEC. After everything Arkansas has gone through the past few years with some difficult situations with coaching hires and some tough seasons, for Pittman to be able to bounce this thing back as quickly as he has, it really has been remarkable. And, a lot of the credit there, too, also goes to him being able to retain some of his key pieces on that coaching staff. Think about a Barry Odom, defensive coordinator, Kendall Biles, your OC, coming back for a third year. That continuity really helps. That was part of the negotiations, and his contract extension was just trying to be able to create a culture of stability, and that helps in recruiting, and it helps with your culture. And that's what's been the big turnaround for this team, and they're starting to really reap the benefits of that recruiting. I think they did a nice job in this offseason of supplementing some of the guys that they lost, because they lost some key pieces here, but did a good job of bringing in some guys out of the portal with experience to go along with a pretty talented class of freshmen. I think Arkansas's got some good depth. I think they've got some really nice pieces. It's always a good thing your quarterback is returning. And we know Arkansas had a tough rushing attack last year. Most of those guys are back. Got your offensive line pretty much in tow there. So you feel good about the Razorbacks. I think their confidence is there, which is a big thing for this program. 10-2, I mean, hey, we know what this schedule looks like in the SEC West. You mentioned non-conference with, opening up against Cincinnati, traveling to BYU. Those are not easy games, but I think Arkansas has got one of those teams they believe. They're scrappy. They're going to play hard every down. And this is a group that feels confident that at the very least they're going to be in every game with an opportunity to win at the end. And we know some of those games are coin flips, but when you have that type of belief, sometimes those things go your way more than you think they might. So I think Arkansas is going to have a good season. I do. Finished 9-4 last year, with the bowl victory. And I think you'd like to see them take, one more step forward. So does that mean an extra win in the regular season, a better bowl? I don't know. But between that and just being on a better stage to compete with the big boys, played Alabama within a touchdown on the road last year.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you repeat that? And, hey, obviously Arkansas wants to beat Nick Saban. Everybody does. But can you repeat that and just prove that you're going to belong and that you're going to be there consistently? And I think that's where that program is headed right now. So certainly things are trending in the right direction.
Yeah, year 3 under Sam Pittman coming up, no doubt. And then I know you're very close to the Arkansas basketball program. Expectations probably as high there as they are in baseball year in and year out now with what Eric Musselman's done, bringing in a star-studded recruiting class. I have something to ask you. I know they've had some off-season workouts. They've added a lot of really good pieces. But I have to ask you, a guy that I watched in the play high school basketball here several times in Alabama. He was Mr. Basketball. He signed with the Razorbacks. With as good a recruiting class and as deep as it is that they have coming in, Curtis, how much do we see a guy like Barry Dunning playing and for this team? Because Arkansas, I don't think there's any doubt, is going to be probably a top 15 team nationally in this preseason, and someone that's going to be in the top 3 or 4 teams on paper in the SEC.
Yeah, no doubt, and you're right. I mean, it's insane. You've got 13 scholarship players. Arkansas's got 11 new guys. So
wow.
The good thing for a guy like a Barry Dunning coming in is there's nothing but air and opportunity between him and some playing time. There's no returners back outside of Devo Davis who really have any sort of defined role or who have really earned anything in the program. So, Musselman is keeping that thing wide open. Competition breeds excellence, whatever. But, he's going to have every opportunity to get in there. Realistically, when you think about the front court bringing in 4, huge 6'9+ transfers, you added a wing out of the portal. Those guys are experienced. Maybe they have a little bit of a leg up. Arkansas's got 3 of the McDonald's All-Americans, 5-star prospects coming in. So you think about a guy like Dunning and, or even Joseph Pinion, Darian Ford, the other guys in that freshman class, and maybe they're overlooked a little bit, but these are all, like you said, hey, Gatorade Player of the Year, Mr. Basketball in their states, top 100 prospects. These are all really, really good players. So I think people might sleep on those guys at their own peril. He's with his frame. He came in shape. Musselman put out the mile times. These guys went and did a time mile, and he finished second on the team as a true freshman. He's released some clips. where Dunning's in there making backdoor reads and cutting and dunking on guys in traffic. So, it might be a little bit of an uphill climb for him to get in the main top 6-7 rotation because Musselman likes to keep that thing pretty short. But there's no reason to think that he's not a guy who could compete and work his way into a role and evolve over the course of his freshman year into a greater one, maybe like we've seen some of the freshmen at Arkansas in the past. But, yeah, so far the reports are he's doing a really nice job.
Well, it's peerless stuff from Curtis Wilkerson. We'll see. Barry Dunning going to be a very interesting story to see if he can become a huge part of Razorback basketball. And, of course, as we said, if you want to know about Razorback athletics, hogsports.com is the source. Curtis Wilkerson coming on with us yet again. Curtis, we appreciate the knowledge, talking about Razorback baseball, and we'll see the Razorbacks tonight at 6 in the College World Series. You'll be covering that, but let everybody know how to follow your coverage of Razorbacks athletics.
Yeah, obviously you can always join us over at hogsports.com. That's HAWGsports.com, part of the 24/7 network. And then Twitter. We're Twitter guys. You can give me a follow at Kurt Wilkerson _. Every story that we put out, that gets tweeted out there, and then whatever clever things I come up with to put out there. So would certainly appreciate the follow, whether it's there or over at our website.
Thank you, Curtis.
Thanks, Curtis.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
All right, that's Curtis Wilkerson. Let's get that final break in, because when we come back, your tomorrow's headlines steal the show.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We are wrapping up this morning with a few accidents working. 431 and Sutton Road. It's actually on Sutton near 431. That one reported with injury. They called for help on Blackburn Road in Limestone County. That one may have had some injury involved. Wrapping up Bibb Garrett and Mooresville Road. That one reported as a no injury. Need a temp or maybe to add an addition to your staff? Snelling specializes in admin, accounting, and medical placements. Snelling, how Huntsville's best companies hire talent. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Outdoor season is coming. Can't wait.
Here at Brooks & Collier, neither can we. Outdoor season is also grilling season.
And we have plenty of grills and smokers in stock from Traeger, Blaze, and Big Green Egg.
There's the greenhouse, new indoor items and home furnishings as well.
Whatever it takes. Browse over 2 acres of furnishings. Can't wait.
How about you? North Alabama's indoor and outdoor living headquarters for over 75 years.
813 Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com. In 1982, Bob Baumhauer introduced Alabama to the Buffalo Wild Wing, and quite frankly, we've never been the same. Back then, it was Wings and Things in Tuscaloosa, but now, 40 years later, after 4 name changes, Baumhauer's Victory Grill is the #1 sports-themed restaurant in the state. Bob's Alabama Hot Chicken is something that has to be tried to believe, plus the new Bam Bam Chicken and the Louisiana-style Go Fish, a whitefish over rice topped with shrimp etouffee. And Baumhauer's is fighting inflation with some new affordable favorites. Visit Baumhauer's on the South South Parkway today.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. Still a place to call for your installation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an vital organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone. This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Time really does keep slipping into the future. And it'll be time this evening for you to catch another night of Atlanta Braves baseball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. The Braves taking on the Giants tonight. And Atlanta last night, I think, what was your word? Home run derby?
Well, it was slow pitch
softball.
Yeah, it ended up being 12-10. It was it was a loss.
Braves fall last night. So tonight they have a chance to take the series.
Well, they got 2 left because this is a 4-game set.
Is it a 4? I thought it was only 3.
It's a 4-game because they're going to be playing the Giants through Thursday before we see a reunion with the Braves and Freddie Freeman and with the Dodgers, the team I hate, coming in for a 3-game series Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But again, the Braves this series 1-1. The Giants come back last night after losing 2-1, 12-10 win. The pitching struggled for Atlanta last night. Matt Olson is on fire right now. He hit 2 home runs last night. Ronald Acuna, I believe, had 3 hits. So those are some positives for the Braves. They certainly swung the bats well enough. They just did not pitch well enough last night. Hopefully they can bounce back. We'll see, because this is a tough week. You talked about it at the beginning of the week, Scott. The competition was going to amp up for the Braves. They're going to have the Dodgers coming in, and before that, the Giants and the Dodgers, 2 of the best teams in baseball. West Coast teams that you could potentially see in the playoffs coming into Truist Park. So you'll hear that on 97.7 The Zone. You'll also hear the College World Series. And so it's the SEC Invitational, 1 o'clock. It'll be the Texas A&M Aggies in Oklahoma. Oklahoma trying to close this out on their side of the bracket and reach the finals. And we talked to Jake Wimberly earlier, and just now Curtis Wilkerson. Ole Miss, Arkansas, the Rebels, trying to make some history, get to the finals. Arkansas trying to return there, as they have been there before under Dave Van Horn. So it's going to be some remarkable baseball on tonight.
All right, 97.7 ESPN The Zone is your home for all of the baseball action that we have talked about all morning long. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And I mentioned it, and we talked briefly about it, but that's that college football's top 25 future power rankings.
Yeah.
And Adam Rittenberg is the one that put all of this together. And it's for the 2022, 2023, and 2024 seasons. Okay, it's their FPR, and ESPN's got all these computers. I'd hate to see the computer room that ESPN has to put all of this together. For Alabama, Drew, the 2022, the future quarterback ranking. And that's, I guess, with Eli Holstein, Bryce Young, whoever they have in this, Ty Simpson.
Well, and Eli won't be there till 23, but yeah.
But they put 2022 as number 3. The 2022 is offensive ranking number 2, defensive ranking number 4 for the 2022. The future team ranking for 2021 is number 1.
Who did they have defensively ahead of Alabama, by the way?
In 2022?
Yeah.
Let's see. Alabama is 4. They have Georgia he has Georgia at number 2 in the defensive ranking.
I can see that a little bit. I mean, even though they lost a ton.
A&M is number 3.
That's just stupid. Matt Hayes must have drugged them.
Clemson is number 1.
How? I mean, they weren't very good last year anyway. I know they got people hurt. Brian Brzee, some of these guys, they'll be back. I mean, but you lost Brent Venables. You got a new defensive coordinator. Alabama has all their coaches back. On the defensive side of the ball. Besides, they did Sal Sunseri stepped into an off the field role, so they Coleman Hutzler coming in. But
he said that Clemson could have the nation's best front with All-America candidates. Brian Brees, Tyler Davis, Miles Murphy. They are all back.
Brzee and Miles Murphy, both 5-star recruits.
Yeah, they got Xavier Thomas, KJ Henry, Justin Mescal back. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's where he's going with that.
Well, what is the logic between A&M being better than Alabama in anything?
Defensively, I'm trying to see where he mentions defense in all of this. So far, he's got a lot of offense mentioned in here as well.
Because Alabama has questions on offense.
He says they got a good core of veterans, including safeties, Damani Richardson, Antonio Johnson, linebacker Andre White, and McKinley Jackson, and others.
None of those guys are even as good as the guys at Alabama. None! 0! They wouldn't even start. I'll just say it. None of them would. None. 0. I mean, it just goes back to what Jake Wimberly said about the hype in Texas. It's absolutely ridiculous because that's all it is.
There is a lot of hype.
They're going to fall flat on their face. At least I hope so. They won't go 0-12 like I hope.
Yeah.
But I hope they lose at least 4 or 5 games.
They put Ohio State for 2022 future quarterback ranking as number 1.
That makes
future
sense.
Offense in 2022 ranked number 1. Defense ranked number 11. Ohio State's defense last year was atrocious.
It was. Yes.
Would 11 be a big improvement?
Oh, it'd be huge.
Enough to carry Ohio State to a national title.
Because, I mean, they bought khaki pants sometime because khaki just ran right over them.
Woo, did he ever. Still running over him,
yeah.
is what some people would say.
Yeah.
Kind of looking through this. Speaking of khaki pants, this is interesting. 2022 future quarterback ranking is a 10.
Yeah.
2022 future offensive ranking is an 8. 2022 future defensive ranking is a 10, and the 2021 future team ranking for Michigan, not ranked.
That's not good for khaki. He could be taking some heat there.
How about that?
Wow. I don't know. But I will say this. This is to close out the show, and we kind of talked about it on the way here. And you made me aware of it, and someone else did as well. And I had not been aware of it on social media. I've been very busy, but I wanted to pay homage because he was on our station quite a bit.
Yeah.
And he made a huge impact in our community. But I wanted to send thoughts and prayers out to the family of Coach Ray Green, who recently passed away twice, the head football coach of Alabama A&M. had a long career as an assistant coach in college football.
He was 83 years of age.
And remember,
Ray Green.
when we went through the eras of the arena football in our city, he was part of that as well.
Yeah.
On the coaching staff.
That's where I first got to know Ray Green very well, was when he was with the Tennessee Valley Vipers.
That's right.
And that led into a lot of conversations about, and he and I connected well because he spent time coaching with Johnny Majors
at Tennessee,
at Iowa State.
At Iowa State, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
At Iowa State, and so
that's right.
we had that connection in common that we were, that we both. I'm from Iowa, and he coached at Iowa State, and so we had that in common as well. And so I had a lot of great conversations with Ray Green throughout the years.
I remember Coach Green, who when he retired from on-field coaching, as you know, Scott, he was still very much active in the community and youth football here in Huntsville. He was on ETV quite a bit doing high school football broadcasts and was very close. I think he was instrumental years ago. If you remember the Joey Kent, who's been on this show, Joey Kent, who had a great career at Johnson High School and then went on to become a great wide receiver at the University of Tennessee with Peyton Manning and play in the NFL. He called the Tennessee coaching staff at that time, Alabama also, and was very instrumental in Joey Kent being recruited by those universities and going on to a great career. He helped and mentored a lot of young people who became great athletes and great football players in our city. He was always very generous with his time and came on with us in 97.7 The Zone. A great mind. It's very sad to lose him, but again, a long life for Ray Green, a lot of great impact football-wise and in our community. And again, just Godspeed and prayers to his family. Coach Ray Green passing away at 83 years old.
Yep, Ray Green, a fixture in North Alabama sports. And our thoughts and prayers, as you mentioned, go out to he and his family, the Bulldog community, and everybody that had the pleasure of working and meeting Ray Green. That is going to do it for our 2 hours here on Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We'll be back at it Thursday morning. Stay safe, everyone.
Yeah, everybody, Jake Wimberly, we appreciate it. We appreciate the phone call. Richard, we calling in, and, of course, Curtis Wilkerson. College World Series tonight, Braves baseball also.